How about that? Now I'm on top of. Am I there? You got me? Yes. Success. I've got this marbly gray. Okay, yay is right. Okay, sorry about the technical difficulties, but at least we are here. I dare not try to move myself over into the middle. There we go. I can't move my chat screen. Okay, anyways, let's get rocking and rolling. It's been one of those mornings. Okay, so piece of paper. Who told me that? Poika22, thank you very much. You are hired as my technical person. I actually don't love using the Streamlabs. StreamYard is so much easier, and it doesn't have that piece of paper thing. But okay, anyways, let's get back to business. So, yeah, exactly. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. Okay, so let's get some questions going here so that we can spend our time instead of screwing around with this camera, answering questions and getting your needs met, because that's what I'm here for. So, okay, so here's a question from Nick. It's still hard for me to think of a good mentality. What is a good mentality for thinking of girls? Okay, cool. That's a great question. And I made myself notes in case people didn't have any questions. But one of the notes that I made myself is to talk about the difference between healthy sexuality and unhealthy or addictive, kind of a loaded word, but unhealthy sexuality. So the proper way to think of anybody, never mind girls, is to think of them as whole human beings. And I know it's cheesy sounding, but it's true, is that instead of seeing people just for their body parts that are giving your brain a dopamine hit, you want to see them as a whole person. Now, here's a strategy, because you know how I feel about, of course, I could wax and wane about theory, but one of the most important things to remember is having an action step to help you. Here's your action step on that one, is to look people in the eyes first, but trying to look them in the eyes for the most part. So you will rewire and recondition your brain to, look into the windows of the soul. Our eyes are our windows of the soul is the saying. So you want to engage with a person so that you can actually see them as a whole person and not just see them as a body part that gives your brain a hit. That's what you're getting away from. And first of all, it's going to make you a better human being. But secondly, what it's going to do is rewire your brain in the right direction. You're going to stop using the neural pathways that objectify people. So if your brain's learned just to objectify a person, and what that means is you see them as an object for your personal gratification. Nobody, no human being wants to be an object to another person. So it's about connection instead of just seeing them to get a little hit for your brain using sexuality. So what happens in unhealthy sexuality is that your brain is looking for intensity to self-soothe. And you hear me, it's to get rid of the feelings of anxiousness or that fast brain speed. It's to stimulate a brain that's bored or overwhelmed. You don't want to use people's bodies for that. You want to find a healthy way to do that in your life by getting on purpose in your work, connecting in your relationships, and actually go engaging in your hobbies. That's how you want to stimulate your brain and calm it down. I live by a lake, and thankfully it's becoming warm again here. And I have 2 stand-up paddle boards, which are really fun, and being in nature is proven to be really great for your brain. And I have to have the hubs take them off the racks in our garage and bring them down so that I can go out tomorrow. I'm going to go out on Wednesday. So somebody call me out on it next time we see each other, because I want to be able to create a habit. This is all about creating new habits and new routines, where I go out on the lake at least once a week. And last year I didn't because of COVID, which is why I'm extra eager to get that calming and stimulation for my brain in a healthy way. And then that way you don't have to look at people's body parts. Okay, so let's see. Jay Deep has a morning wood question, right? The questions we get here, but we are definitely going to be addressing now still with porn induced ED, day 110 of no PMO. Congratulations, Jay Deep. That's totally awesome. Will I recover? Question mark now, and don't get stimulated by pixels now. Yeah, you are going to recover if you commit to it and you continue 100% commitment like I talk about, and you stay resilient, you develop the resilience and the discipline that you need, your brain is going to rewire itself. So if you're constantly having morning wood, that's good. That's your brain now rewiring itself so that it can change its arousal template so that you can become aroused with a human partner in the world. And we will talk about that in a minute, because I know many people don't currently have a human partner in the world, and we need to discuss that. But don't go back to the screen, because that is going to desensitize the reward center in the middle of your brain. You do not want that. You want to sensitize your brain to have actual sex with a partner for connection, the perfect amount of intensity, eroticism, which means you can tap into your animal nature, become vulnerable with a partner. That leads to balanced neurotransmitters and balanced way of using your brain. That's how you will rewire it to be healthy. So in the meantime, just know that it's a sign that your brain is rewiring itself, and you will recover. The more things that you do, the more strategies, the more techniques, the more tools. So like the eye contact tool, if you find that you're checking people out and now you start building eye contact with people, that's going to continue to rewire your brain. All of the brain tips at the end of my videos, there's a tip at the end of every video, a strategy for you to use. So if you don't make it to the ends of the videos, go back and watch the last section, because it's always a strategy for you to use. And when you start putting those strategies together, they really come together synergistically. They will help you. They will help you. Okay, so let's see. Why is there so much depression in day 7? I am sorry that you are dealing with that. Loken, sorry if I'm butchering your names, but that is the proverbial flat line. So if your brain in PMO, your brain gets used to this flood of dopamine that numbs it out basically and creates soothing in your brain. Now, if you're not giving your brain those high dopamine levels, what actually happens is your dopamine levels go extra low. And it's part of the rewiring and the recalibration of your brain performance pattern and your neurotransmitters. So as badly as it feels, know that it's really not depression in a classic sense, in terms of brain patterns. I know it feels that way. It's really like very low levels of those neurotransmitters and very low brain power, because you know how I talk about that when you consume pornography and engage in a lot of masturbation, especially if it's frequent, consistent, and intense, your brain is swinging between the very high highs and the very low lows, and it doesn't have that perfect processing speed in the middle, isn't high enough where we want it to be. So now it's still kind of low, and as your brain rewires, that perfect processing speed's going to pop up and you're going to begin to feel better. Now the strategy, action steps for you to be able to feel better as quickly as possible is to try to engage your brain purposefully, in your work. Try to work, scaffold yourself, build yourself up to longer time frames where you can engage in the world, in your work, in your hobbies, in your relationships. Every time you go use your brain in a healthy way, you're helping to rewire in the new optimal brain pattern that you're trying to create. And you might just have to sleep some of it off and try to, have those feelings dissipate. But the more you can engage, this is a new thing that I'm into. And actually I got it from, and if you've been on my lives, you know that I am a major fangirl of Russell Brand. If you hate him, I don't even care. I love him. I think he's such an intelligent person. I listened to his new Audible audio, and in there somewhere he talks about, he doesn't say it in this way, but he talks about engagement and evolution. And it really resonated with me because my whole program is about engaging with strategies, techniques, tools, support, and evolving as a human being. When all the strategies that I'm offering you are peak performance strategies, that the benefit is you get to leave porn behind and really get on purpose in your life. So it's about engaging with the world in a really healthy way and then evolving yourself so that you become a better version of yourself, and you increase your emotional maturity, you become stronger, you make your brain stronger and healthier. So keep going. You are in the flat line and it will pass. This too shall pass. Dr. Criminal, what's going on? How are you today? Let's see. Abstaining from PMO for 8 months and come face to face with a photo of, your brain actually hurts when you are starting to feel, let me finish the question, the spike. The more I find attractive, the more it hurts, and I'm not excited, I just feel pain. Well, your brain is rewiring itself. So what is likely happening is that before, when you'd see a photo, your brain would get that dopamine flood, and it was used to it. It was used to the high levels, the response. And actually, the more you consume and the more you keep going forward with consuming, those levels need to be higher and higher and higher. Now, as you're backing yourself out of that over the course of 8 months, and then you get this hit that is likely at these bigger levels than you've had in a while, it can make your brain hurt because it's throwing off that new optimal brain pattern, and it's a recalibration. I'm trying to think of an analogy, and of course when I do it, on the fly it never comes out well, but let's just say you stop drinking and you haven't drank in 8 months, and then you chug a huge glass of Jack Daniels, and you get this massive rush that you haven't had because you haven't drank in 8 months. It's a similar type of effect. And again, pivoting and walking away from that and knowing that you don't want your brain to go down that neural pathway again because you're working so hard at building the new neural pathways will really help you out. Okay, so let me keep going here. Lots of questions. Awesome. I'm really excited. Samir, I'm sorry that you are struggling. Porn has destroyed my soul and happiness. Yes, you do need to leave it right now. As a starter, what's one tip that you can use today? And you probably see me write this in the comments, is that when people say, here I go, I'm leaving it behind, I always write back in the comments, change something. Change your routine. So especially in the times when you used to watch porn, you need to have a plan. You need to know what you're going to do instead. And even if you have a slip, you can use that slip to learn. But you can't just say, I'm going for this, I'm not going to watch porn anymore, and not change anything. Because every single person, if they are sucked into a porn habit, have a porn cycle. So there will be triggers. The screen is going to pull you back. Not only will the triggers push you in that direction, your brain will be pulled back because porn's a super normal stimulus. So you need to have an offensive plan. Change your routines. Change something up, and especially fill the holes in the times when you would normally watch porn. And connect. Stay away from isolating yourself. Look at what your triggers are and find a way to either avoid them or to be able to move towards them. That's what emotional maturity is. It's, I have this stressor, but I can move towards it. I don't have to escape from it. Change something. Change your routine and make a plan of what you're going to do when an urge strikes. Okay, let's see. Hi, Amir. What's going on? Let's see. Let me keep going here. First tips for quitting porn, like I told you, you could also put porn blockers on your phone, or try to build fences. I call them fences. So when you build a fence, you are making it so that it's more difficult, but you really need to change things so that you can be successful. Okay, let's see. First tips. John Doe. Neuroscience shows both sexes see women as conglomeration of objects. I don't totally know what that scientific study is. It doesn't mean that it's not, but I don't know, maybe if you could expand on that, I could talk about it. Could dropping of blood pressure be a withdrawal symptom? It could be, because blood pressure goes up when there's stimulation to your brain. Your heart rate will increase, your blood pressure will increase. If so, it going down could be definitely associated with not giving your brain that stimulation. If it's too low, though, you want to have that checked out for sure. Hey Nick, oh, you're welcome for my help. I am here for it. And this will give me a second. I'm going to keep going with the questions though, but I wanted everybody to know that I'm really excited that I have created a nonprofit organization to support my work here, because right now this is my passion project. It is something that I do because I want the world to know about the damaging brain effects of pornography. I want you all to have actual solutions to leave it behind, and then I want you to know how to heal your brain. But this is just me doing it because it's important to me. So I have created a nonprofit organization called Brain Reboot, and I will be putting on my channel a Patreon account once I have all that set up, and I will be able to accept donations so that I can further the cause and create more awareness and create more programs that people can access, either for free or for very low investment, so that it would all be donation going back to the cause. So you're welcome for the help. I'm totally excited about it, and I am moving forward in systematizing it so that I can also go raise funds from the world so I can bring more content to you all. Okay, so does recovery entail reverting the brain back to the state it was before you were addicted, even though a person gets addicted to PMO at 15 years old? That's Loyal ML. Thanks for that question. Sorry, I still have a little COVID cough. Can you believe that? Okay, so that is an awesome question. Yes, so research shows that when your brain sees pornography when you're young, before the age of 15, we'll just use that age since that's the question from Loyal, is that basically it delays the development of your brain. And the way that it does that primarily is that your frontal lobe doesn't develop as quickly and as much as it's supposed to. And I actually just made a video on that. So if you haven't seen it, go watch the video. It's how porn delays brain development, I think I called it. But I'm going to give you the quick once over here on the answer is yes, you can totally recover because you're going to grow your frontal lobe up. So to be able to do that, you have to use your frontal lobe more. And that's a huge part of my Porn Brain Reboot program, is what I call an executive function brain boosting project. You want to use your frontal lobe at the perfect amount and to keep using it to think and scaffold your way towards growing your frontal lobe up. So in the video, I tell you that basically when we're born, all of our brains use a lot of slow speed. It's called theta. And we use that slow speed, and that's why babies sleep, because their brains have to run really slow so that all that development and growth can happen. But as we continue to grow through infancy and toddlerhood, and we keep moving towards childhood, then adolescence, theta is supposed to go down so that your sharp thinking skills can develop and your frontal lobe can become activated so that you can use good decision making. You can stay away from easy button, instant gratification, compulsive behaviors like pornography. So to be able to abstain from pornography, you must develop your frontal lobe, but you can't until you start abstaining from pornography. It's the proverbial catch-22. But you need to be able to leave porn behind and then actively work on growing up your frontal lobe. And that's why I tell you to get on purpose in your work, your relationships, and your hobbies. That's what helps to develop the frontal lobe. But you totally can develop it. And we know, that brains develop until the age of 28 in young men, 25 in young women. They develop, we can always heal them across the lifetime. They develop to 28, but they can heal across the lifetime. That's what neuroplasticity is. Okay, so the answer is yes. We see men as whole and women as conglomerates. I don't totally know what you mean, John Doe. Maybe there's more down below. Okay, so JDeep 24. Okay, I got that one. I'm behind here. So Let's see. Can watching porn for a long time have effects on hormonal changes like decrease in testosterone? I heard about no PMO can increase in the hormone. Yeah, I'm doing the research on that right now, and because I want to do lengthy research on testosterone before I make a video. And I'm making a video on the chaser effect, which I just got done doing a lot of research because, of course, I know anecdotally a lot about this, but before I put a video out, I need to know scientifically. But the answer is yes. So, like, when your brain is in this hyper aroused, stimulated version of itself, and it's also running slow, that's the pattern that makes you want to go back to watch pornography, and then you flood your system with dopamine. What happens is you are whacking out your hormone levels, and it's based on this cycle. So like when you're consuming pornography, there's a lot of dopamine in your system. After the fact, there's lower levels of dopamine, higher levels of cortisol. All of that affects your brain performance pattern, affects your hormone levels. So as you rewire and recalibrate your brain, hormone levels will steady off and will then get back to their optimal levels, which of course then testosterone decreases across age. But I'm intrigued by, I really need to dive into the science. I found a bunch of older science from like 2002 that shows that there's very limited effects with testosterone, but I need to find the newer science. But when you leave pornography behind, you will start to feel stronger and healthier, and testosterone levels are going to come back online. So that is the anecdotal answer. And I can already see, like, for example, Matij, sorry, I'm sure I'm not saying your name right, but I see comments here from other people saying that if you leave porn behind, then you are going to feel better quickly. So that's definitely the case, and I'm going to find the science to prove that for you. Okay, I've seen a video on how to connect with someone, but would you do one about, yeah, so I am doing a video on the impact of pornography on dating. I have a lot of great videos in the works right now, and I've also hired a new executive assistant to help me to be able to stay on track here so I can get you more content more quickly. So she starts next week too. So I have a lot of cool things happening. But how pornography impacts dating. So being a shy person in the first place makes it difficult to go out and connect with people, and especially COVID-19 makes it extra difficult to connect with people. But just know too that when you're watching porn, it can make it even more difficult for you to approach people. Plus, if you're objectifying them, then that changes the way that the interaction, it really changes your interaction style. So what's the tip? What's the action step for you? It's to think about connecting and dating as old school. Think of it like it's 1940. Think of if you see a person and now you're going to make eye contact with them and you connect with them at that level. And if you're interested in spending more time, don't think of, okay, I see that person, I want to have sex with them. That is not the goal anymore. We're going to switch unhealthy sexuality to healthy sexuality. Healthy sexuality is, I see that person and I might want to know more about them, to connect with them. And in my program, my Porn Brain Reboot program, I talk about the 3 stages of love and of coupleship, and it's all based on research. Basically, that first stage is filled with lust. And so it's supposed to be that way. So when you see a person, you're making eye contact, you still feel lustful towards them. That's healthy lust, unless you have a partner. If you have a partner, you want to keep lust between you and your partner, and we could talk about that if we want to. But when you see a person, you should be excited sexually, but also in a well-rounded, whole person way. So if you think about it like 1940s, you want to take that person for coffee or for a drink, then maybe a couple days later, you take them for lunch. Then a couple days later, you take them for dinner. Then it builds up to a sexual relationship. That is the way that you pursue connection with another person. Be yourself. Yeah, thanks. People are subscribing. I love that little bell we see there. It's totally awesome. Subscribe to the channel because I also have been organizing the playlists. So you will be glad to know, and someone Instagram messaged me, could you please organize your channel? Which, don't get me wrong, that has been in the back of my mind for a long time. But this girl right here, spread thin. So that's why I'm getting myself less spread thin. And I have already started to organize the content into playlists for the impact of pornography on mental health, the impact of porn on your physical health, in impact on relationships, how it impacts brain development and functioning, how to heal your brain. So you can look for playlists soon. They're already in the works, getting that content organized for you. So subscribe if you're not a subscriber, because it's going to be even more organized. And remember, at the end of every video is the brain tip. So if you want more strategies, please watch the end of the video. Even if you don't want to listen to me wax and wane for the whole time, skip to the end and get the brain tip. Okay, so I know, get out of here, COVID. My husband has told me, he's totally right. If you know anything about me, we want to say affirmations, and I keep calling it a COVID cough that's been lingering. And he's like, don't call it a COVID cough because it's giving COVID too much power. And I'm totally with him. So, but anytime you see me weirdly breathe in and pause, it's because I feel like I need to cough. I do it in the videos these days too. And you'll know that, when I don't do these weird suck-ins, that it's gone and I'm feeling 100%. Okay, strategies for Tinder. I made a video on this too, how to use Tinder in a healthy way. And I made 2 videos, a short one and a long one, and basically talking about how most people who use Tinder are using it in a very unhealthy way. And to be able to use it in a healthy way is difficult because it's a slightly unhealthy mechanism. But again, thinking of it as a coffee shop. And I know that might be weird, but like, when you go into Tinder, you're looking for people to connect with. You're looking for a person to connect with in a well-rounded way. It's not designed this way, and so that's the tricky part. But if you're looking for someone to build connection with and to explore a possible relationship with, then your goal is to take that person out, meet them out for coffee or a drink. You've probably seen in any movie, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, like maybe like Hitch might have a scene like this where they're like, no dinner, just coffee. Meaning like when you go out on a blind date, don't have them come to your apartment or your home, because you're setting yourself up for using that application for unhealthy sexuality and just to have a quick sexual experience, which is not dating. Dating is getting to know someone like I just described. So use Tinder in the way that I just described. Invite the person for coffee. If they don't want to go for coffee, okay, wait, I got to digress here for a minute. I have to stay here for a minute. Because if someone is on Tinder just looking for a hookup, I want you to know, not you, the other person, I want you to know that's an unhealthy partner. So to be able to have healthy sexuality or to be able to have a good relationship in the end, there has to be 2 healthy people. So you are going to become the healthier version of yourself by developing your brain, leaving porn behind, developing healthy sexuality in yourself, intensity at the perfect level, intimacy, eroticism, and connection. That's what you're going for. That's your goal from now on. Now you need to find someone who has the same goal. So if you meet a person and they just want to hook up, the answer is next, please, because that's an unhealthy person, which is only going to disintegrate. And in the video that I made, that's basically what I say in a longer version, is that Tinder, the science shows that it is decreasing self-esteem in young men in particular, women too, but young men, because it's hookupville that then leads to rejection, which makes you feel worse about yourself. So if your goal is not to hook up and it's to meet someone and take them out for coffee and they're into that too, the likelihood that you will be rejected is less. The likelihood that it leads to lunch is higher. That's how you use it in a healthy way. So go for it. Okay, so let me just keep going here. Okay, so Mansab Ali, hello. Hopefully I said your name okay. So never been with a girl in real life, social anxiety, masturbate a couple times a day. you have to stop masturbating, because what you're doing is you're coupling your brain to yourself. Nobody wants to be coupled sexually to themselves. And that goes back to some of the comments on my channel where people are like, why are you always advocating for a partner? And I'm doing the research on monogamy too. Somebody put a comment, and I promise I'll get back to your question, Monsab, but somebody put a comment like, monogamy's dead. That's the old way of thinking. Like, why are you promoting having sex with another human being in the real world? Is because monogamy is dying because of pornography, not vice versa. Everybody's watching scenes that aren't real, but at the end of the day, people want connection. At the end of the day, most people want a partner who they can have this multi-dimensional, multi-sensory sexual experience with, plus have fun and intimacy. And if you've seen the video that I've made on all the different types of intimacies, you want a partner at the end of the day you can come home and laugh and cry and argue and make up and build a life with. Most people want that. So you have to leave masturbation behind, so you stop coupling your brain to the computer screen if you're watching pornography, or to yourself if you're masturbating. You need to get your brain ready to be coupled with a human being in the world. So you leave masturbation behind and you just use the tips. I know they're not easy, but they're simple, and trying to reach out. Join a club or an activity, something that you enjoy doing. So, like, I go to a yoga class. I'm not there to hook up, obviously, since I'm married, but I am there to meet other people who are health oriented, who want to control their brains and are, looking for calm focus. I find those people in a yoga class. I also go out with my friends, and we go out to our favorite bar/restaurant, because we know that's where we're going to meet people for a good time and for some laughs. So you have to go to in the places where the people are that you want to meet, healthy, like-minded people. Okay, so can't focus. That's because of the masturbation. You're dumping tons of dopamine into your brain, making it so that it can't focus. It's flooded. It's numbed out. You have to leave the habit behind. Let me give you a cheat in the right direction. Is go for longer and longer time frames if you can't abstain altogether. So leave it behind. Or here's the tip. If right now you're masturbating twice a day, go down to one time a day. Then your brain's going to chill out a little, because right now it's used to getting that hit 2 times a day. Make it so it gets the hit 1 time a day. Then make it so it gets the hit every other day. Then make it so it gets the hit every 3 days. Keep going in the right direction. Okay, let's see, I've got spam comments. Are they here? Or I don't see any spam comments here, but I do see a whole bunch of spam comments on my channel, and it might be flip flank spam comments. I don't know. Someone spammed me up, and I haven't had a chance to address them all, but I started to. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, okay, so here's a great question from Ladrian Hernandez. Hopefully I'm saying your name right. Great question on hearing me talk about opening a tab on the browser or multiple tabs on the browser. Great question. So what's the difference if we've got 1 tab going or if we've got 20 tabs going? Now I'm going to talk about it specifically for pornography in a second, but it's just not good to have tabs open on your browser, even if you're working. So when I'm working, if I have too many tabs open, that's literally a sign for me to go take a break from my work and X out these tabs that I have open. And I was on a meeting with a marketing guy I work with for our private practice, and he shared a screen with me. I'm not even kidding. There's like 70 tabs open. And I'm like, dude, you got to clean up those tabs. It's really bad for your brain. Because what it does is it's creating multitasking. And I have a colleague who talks about it as milkshake multitasking. When you multitask, and in this case, I'm talking about the tabs, it's like putting your brain in a blender. It's the opposite of calm focus. If you're looking at 10 tabs, you're diverting your focus in multiple directions. So when it comes to pornography, though, those tabs are open leading you down a rabbit hole. That's literally the slippery slope that I'm talking about. And it can lead to edging, which if you saw my video on edging, what you're doing is you are giving your brain the intensity of that massive flood of dopamine that will really numb you out, but it is going to fry out, and these are my words, desensitize, which an easy way to think about desensitization of the reward center is you are frying it out. The D2 dopamine receptors that pick up on dopamine are actually lowering themselves too. So not only are you you need more and more dopamine in your brain, the receptors aren't picking it up. You're frying out your midbrain. Desensitization of the midbrain leads to the need for more frequent, consistent, and especially intense pornography to get the same feeling. So that's why people open multiple browsers and start clicking between them to stimulate their brain, because their reward centers have been desensitized and they're looking for heightened sensitization. At the same time, putting your brain in a blender, mixing it up like a milkshake, very damaging to the brain. And if you've heard me talk about edging, then you will know that people who do that end up getting very early erectile dysfunction. Not always. I will use the words that it can lead to. It leads to difficulty with arousal, because you need all of that to get your brain aroused. And especially if you're masturbating, it's physical stimulation plus all of that mental stimulation. So now you try to go be with your honey or your partner in the real world. There's literally no way you can get that, because it's at 20 times the level, when you're masturbating to the screen opposed to being with a person. Very, very bad for you. So if you must, back out the browsers from 20 tabs to 1 tab on your way and cheating in the right direction. But, realize you're really damaging your brain by doing that. Okay. You know what? I don't know. Poika22, who helped me out with my camera difficulties, possibly being censored because someone brought to my attention that they were trying to put a comment on the channel, and they said that, the day before there were 30 comments under one of the videos, and then when they went back there were hardly any comments and their comment wouldn't show up. And one time someone got mad at me for taking their comment off. I will tell you, I haven't taken any comments off in a really long time, and the only comments that I will take off is if it is directly saying something vulgar. I can handle negative feedback, but if it's something that's vulgar against me, or if it's triggering for our fabulous community here, I will take those comments off. And I'm in the weeds a little on the comments because of coronavirus, but I'm getting back on track. So I have not, if any comments are disappearing, it is not me, because I love the comments, even if they're challenging ones, even the spammy ones that someone recently put on, they become food for thought. So as long as they aren't there deliberately to hurt someone else, I'm up for the discussion that they bring to us. So I don't know, you might be being filtered here, because I know Sunrises Daily, hello, how's it going? Good to see you here. So let's see. Okay, so Liam, it says withdrawal. Hopefully that doesn't mean that you are experiencing withdrawal, but yes, you're right, withdrawal is real and can be difficult for people. Hi, Chris. How's it going here today? Let's see. That's Chris Arfath. We've got Christopher Ram. How to fight negative thoughts about yourself when rebooting. Okay, great question. Thank you. Is that there's 2 ways to rewire your thoughts. Well, there's more, but I'm going to focus on 2 of them right now. Is that if you have a negative thought, we use, in my world, we use a strategy that's called the stool strategy. So basically, if you have a negative thought, there's 3 legs on a stool. You need to think to yourself, this is the more difficult of the strategies. You think to yourself, is this thought true? And if you can take 1 leg away from the stool falls down. So depending upon what the negative thoughts are, even I become overwhelmed where, the other day I'm thinking, I've got so many things going on. The last thing I need right now is to create a nonprofit organization because I can't handle it. Then I'm like, you know what? I can't handle it. Is that real? I'm like, no, that's not real. I can totally handle it. If I want to, I will prioritize it. I will deprioritize other things. I will strategize it, and I'll put pieces in place so I can be successful. So the I can't handle it's a negative thought that doesn't serve me. And when I take away one leg, like I can, because that's why I hired someone. That's why I'm putting some other pieces in place so that I can be successful, because it's important to me. So you take one leg away and you take all the juice out of that negative thought. You can also change your thoughts. So right now we're talking about changing your thoughts, using your thoughts. You can also write affirmations that take that negative thought and change it into a positive thought, and write it in your journal. You hear me probably. Get yourself a leather or a pleather. You can find really cool pleather, I'm sure they are, journals on Amazon that have like ties. I've bought lots of people them. They're really beautiful. Get yourself a journal that makes you feel good to dip into it. And so you can write yourself an affirmation that says, like, I can't handle it. Then you flip that into I can handle it because, and then you write down the reasons and you take all the steam out of that. Now, changing your thoughts with your thoughts is more difficult than changing your thoughts with your actions. So especially when it comes to pornography, we're talking about building dignity and integrity. That busts through the cycle of guilt and shame. So when you have a negative thought about yourself, take an action step. That's why I'm always giving you action steps. Take an action step that makes it so that thought isn't true. So, if you're dealing with self-esteem issues because of the way that you look, if you feel like someone wrote the other day, and I believe this, so I wrote back, someone wrote that, I'm not a good looking person and there's no way I'll ever get a girl. That's not true. There's a person out there for everybody. So that is simply not true. People are beautiful because of their electrical energy, and there's a partner out there for absolutely every single person. So telling yourself that thought makes it so that you're going to believe that thought, but action stepping yourself out of that by, like we said, joining a group where you fit in. Join chess club. Someone wrote, I'm a geek, and I'm sorry, I like chess too, so I don't mean to characterize anything as geeky, but join a group where you fit in, where you feel confident. That group is different for all of us, so that you act your way out of that negative thought cycle. There's people who have body image issues. Start working out because you're strong, and when you work out, you get stronger, and then you look better, which it's a positive feedback loop. We are building a positive feedback loop here. Let's see. Does rebooting, Tinder, let me see here. Mario says, thanks for my videos. They're helping a lot. You're welcome. Samir, I already read that one. I'm jumping here just to see what we've got going. Okay, wait, because I'm way far behind here. Let's see. Turning in. Thanks, Christian. Liam, waiting. Let's see. Okay, let's see here. Random erections throughout the day. That is probably your brain just often without a stimulus. It's your brain rewiring itself. And again, as annoying as it might be, it can be a good sign. Most effective way to stay away is to get rid of your phone and laptop. Move to a village with no internet connection. I've often thought of that. Keep saying, not because of pornography, but just because of the rat race, that I should move to a village where I can go off grid. That is a defensive plan. That's a fence. Remember, fences are okay in the short run, but you really need to have an offensive plan where you dig into if there's any trauma or experiences from your past. They have to be resolved because they create rigidity in the brain, which makes it so that your brain's going to want to go back to the screen to be calmed and stimulated. You must rewire your brain by changing your routines, your habits, your thought processes, and your emotions in the present. So moving to a village might work for a little while, but then the minute somebody moves into that village that you find triggery, you will probably be in trouble. Porn is much worse to the brain than masturbation. So Uriel or Uriel BP, that is a great question. A lot of people have asked me that, and I've made 1 or 2 videos on masturbation, but that is going to be one of the new playlists, and I'll get more videos there talking about it. So when you couple masturbation to pornography, you basically are flooding your brain with a supernormal stimulus. When you masturbate alone, likely it's to fantasy of what you have consumed before in pornography, but it usually will be at lower levels, and most people can feel the difference in that experience. If it feels the same to you, then some people can really just embed the fantasy in their brain and they don't even have to consume porn anymore. So it might be at the same levels then. Usually it's at lower levels. So if you can leave porn behind, and you can't leave masturbation behind, but you can cheat in the right direction and go longer and longer, you still will be rewiring your brain in the right direction, which will lead you towards success. Yeah, so, okay, I'm going to answer a question by Optus Phone. Brain injury, which leads to pornography consumption, which leads to more and more intense and illegal, is Optus Phone's word, pornography. Why does this happen? A brain injury basically is a slow and low brain pattern. And if you're using that slow and low brain pattern, that's the one of the underactivity and too much slowing that I already talked about and that I talk about in most of my videos. If you have that brain pattern from a brain injury, your brain will self-compensate in the first place and kick it into that fast gear, literally the pattern that will need your brain to be calm and stimulated. So if you get the brain training headband, it will help you decrease that slow speed, decrease that fast speed. And I need to get it on. Like I said, I'm souping up the channel and I'm just about to really do some nice changes to it. But there's the link for the brain training headband in most of the recent videos, but I'll make sure I get it right in there easily for you to see, because I have a 15% off coupon code that can help improve that brain injury pattern that's underneath it, and then help you back out of your pornography habit. How effective is the neurofeedback training and brain training headband in treating porn addiction? Is there any evidence? I don't know that there's any evidence, but you know me, I have big goals that I want to be able to do studies. I know anecdotally from working with people that it is very helpful. And, I have a couple stories, but I also have the data. So every time you do a brain training session using the headband, it produces a graph of your brain performance. And you can see with your own eyes that your brain is improving. And so I work with a lot of people who get the headband, and I can see and they can see their brain improving as they feel better. So I know that, but I need to measure it. I don't think there are any measurements specifically for pornography, but there are measurements that show that it decreases that fast speed and it decreases that slow speed. There's actually a lot of evidence for the Muse headband. They are doing really tight research studies out of the biggest research universities for the brain pattern that underlies wanting to watch pornography and the brain pattern that porn makes worse. So there's studies on how it improves that brain pattern, but not specifically with pornography. Okay, what is the headband? Astro Dog says, what's this headband about? There's a playlist coming on it too. I'm sorry that it's not out there, but literally, it's a crazy life. I'm sure if you've met me before, you know that I have 5 school-age children. 4 of them are teenagers. My oldest daughter just turned 18, which is very cool. Her boyfriend is in our house too, and I have a stepson and his girlfriend. So at all times, there's 8 to 10 people around. And I have 2 dogs, and I just got cats for my girls. We have 2 dogs and 2 cats. It's a full life. And I've got the hubs, and I have a private practice, and I have a consulting business, and this is my passion project. So, I digress, but I will get you a playlist on the headband. The headband takes the one most universal and useful protocol for neurofeedback. My private practice offers neurofeedback in the office and home neurofeedback using a different online platform. But basically what Muse did was they took the most beneficial protocol and put it into this sleek, streamlined headband. And it has 5 sensors across the frontal lobe. We already talked about you have to develop your frontal lobe, and there's 2 in the temporal lobes above the ears. And basically, it gives your brain feedback through auditory feedback when you're using it to the feedback from your brain to your brain. So you don't have to do anything, but it's like neuro meditation. And if you get it, the rule of thumb that I'm having people use is start with a 3-minute session, build up when you see a downward trend on your brain graph, downward from active to calm, and build up to 13 minutes and eventually up to 23 minutes. And that's based on meditation sciences. But basically, it rewires your brain to use more optimal processing speed and to use less of the fast speed and less of the slow speed, which is obviously super cool and exactly what we want to do. And you can see the results for yourself on your brain graphs. And a cool or an interesting thing is that, I work with people who will have slips and relapses, and, their brain will be like 25% calm, and then they'll work up to 34% calm, and then 62% calm. And then when they have a slip, their brain is 99% calm, and it just goes completely calm across the board. But that's artificial. That's artificial from that massive amount of dopamine. Then 2 days later, they're 3% calm. That's that cortisol spike and that lowering of dopamine. So you can measure what your brain is doing. And of course, then when we leave slips and relapses behind, your brain goes from 62% calm to 74% calm. And you can never get your brain 100% calm. That's a unicorn, as I call it. But you can see your brain improving. And it's different for every person, but it's a super cool, neurological tool that you can use. And the computers that I have in my office that offer full-blown, individualized, personalized neurofeedback are $30,000. The excuse me, the MuseCalm headband is $249 American, and I know it's still an investment. I'm not saying that lightly. With the 15% off code, it becomes $212. And if you can save the money for it, and if you actually set the intention and then you use it, it will become really powerful for you. I have people who have done consultations with me that I don't work with. They buy the headband, reach out to me to tell me how awesome that headband is and how it's transforming their life without even working with me. And that's why I tell people, if you can't afford to work with me or you don't want to, get the headband, add it to your life, add it to what you're doing. It will help you. Just to offer up consultations to you, I still do consultations. They're $29. It's really just to secure it in my schedule because I have a busy schedule. I need to make sure people are going to show up when they say they're going to. And you know how that works. You put your money where your mouth is. It makes you do things. But if you're interested in having a private consultation with me, on my website at drtrishleigh.com, there's basically all the pages at the bottom. If you go to internet addictions, there's the pornography piece, but you can sign up for a consultation with me. They're 15 minutes long, and I just got off of one earlier today where, I can provide you a lot of strategies in that amount of time and really help you out. So if you're interested in doing that, I would encourage you to, if you're here today, because I'm not going to be doing them for very long, maybe a month or two more, because they're really, I love doing them, and I will keep them in, but not as much of my schedule because I really need to be able to get more content to help everybody. Okay, so can't cross the 10-day mark. Any ideas? Ocean of games. So if you know the 10-day mark is your cycle, again, it goes back to change something. What happens on day 10? What triggers you? Recognizing that, take an action step towards the thing that makes you want to escape into porn. Your brain is used to this cycle. Of course, the first time that you try to leave it behind is going to be the most difficult time. But I encourage you to take that step. You have to change something. Change your routine. So if 10 days later it's 10 p.m. and this is when you watch porn and masturbate, at 10 p.m. on day 10, you need to go out, go for a run, go hang out with your parents, go do something different during the time where you are at risk. Change something. If you know that there's triggering thoughts, take an action step towards it, not an action step away from it. Change something. Get stronger, because if you can get over day 10, then you are building a new neural pathway and you're starting to weed over the old one. And I'll also tell you that if you can get past day 10, set a goal for 11 days or 12 days, because this is the dignity and integrity. And if you can get to day 11, you've just changed your threshold and you made good on a promise that you made to yourself, and then celebrate it. Get a small win under your belt, even if it's a day or two. Get over that 10-day hurdle by going 12 days. Celebrate it. Your brain will know it's going to be rewarded because you accomplished a goal. Okay, let's see, what time is this? 9:45. So I'm just going to go for a few more minutes because I have a busy day ahead of me here. Thank you all for staying with me. I totally appreciate it. And I'm going to try to really quickly get to wet dreams. I made a video. It is natural. It's your body releasing itself as your brain rewires itself. It is healthy. Same thing with, kind of the random erections. There's going to be physical adjustments as your brain adjusts itself. It is okay. And just know it's a sign in the right direction. Let's see. Does stopping masturbation suddenly, is it, so this is from Shubham Shivan. Hopefully I said your name right. Does it badly affect your penis? No, it's going to help heal your penis, because your penis is used to getting all this physical stimulation plus your brain getting that mental stimulation. It might feel uncomfortable to you, but if it feels uncomfortable to you, no, it's because your brain and your body is changing. It's repairing itself. It's moving in the right direction. It's healthy. Okay, I'm moving down here and see what social media. Ogs, stay off social media. Don't bring your phone in the bathroom. That one's a no-brainer, pun intended. So, Mr. Howell, when does the urge to masturbate go away? When I go to bed at night and wake up in the morning. It goes away as you build the new neural pathways. So, in the business, sobriety isn't recovery. You have to do things to rewire your brain so that those urges will go away. Every time you get a win, though, you are rewiring your brain. Every night you go to bed and you don't give in to the urge, you succeed, you celebrate it, you're rebuilding those neural pathways. Lucas Santora, don't skip your question. I got to go back and see where your question is. I don't see your question. I'm trying not to skip it, Lucas. Is it way far up at the top? Maybe you can throw it in here again, because I can't find it off the top of my head and I would love to answer it for you. People's questions kind of are showing up like lots of different times here. So let's see. I'm going to keep going down, but if you want to put it back in, Lucas, if you're still here. And I see conversation going on between Uriel and somebody I saw asking if you experience anxiety or suffer with anxiety. If you have an anxiety brain pattern, that's Richard Askam is, they're going back and forth. I love seeing conversation between you all, but anxiety is going to bring you back to the screen, but it's going to perpetuate your anxiety. It's going to make your anxiety worse. So leaving porn behind, but taking some steps. The headband's going to help reduce anxiety. It's proven by science to be able to do that. That would be one tool that you could use that would really help. Okay. Oh, yeah, so there's a great question by AR, which I'm also creating a playlist on healthy sexuality, that how to know what is healthy sex if your only education is pornography. And I have big goals in being able to teach people what healthy sex is, because you're totally right. It's so skewed these days that people are learning from pornography. Healthy sex, remember this, is that it's with another person, because you want to have that connection. What intimacy means, so I already told you, it's 4 things. Intensity at the perfect level, eroticism, which leads to vulnerability, which leads to intimacy and connection. So what that looks like for any given person or couple is different, but what it means is that whatever sex acts are in the in play are agreed upon by both people. It's not just for gratification for one person, it's for both people. Both people are enjoying themselves. Both people are becoming vulnerable and sharing of themselves. It's not you using a partner as an object for your own gratification. There's no fantasy involved in terms of what you've seen in pornography. It's about staying present and connecting to that person, but having it be fun and engaging, and being able to share with your partner and to be able to have fun. And what that does is it releases in your brain the perfect amount of dopamine so that you're getting that intense pleasurable experience. It's releasing serotonin for happiness and joy. You should feel happy and content when you're experiencing that and when you're done experiencing it. It's releasing oxytocin to couple you to your partner neurologically. It releases other neurotransmitters, but those are the main ones we'll talk about. So let's see. Okay, Ashgog, off to the gym. Rock it out, my friend. Working out's one of the best things that you can do. PMO 13. I'm going to go with DK Don. And if you weren't on my last live, if you have a sexually referenced handle, it's time to change it because you're wiring in that sexual reference to your brain. But I'm going to go with DK Don, assuming it's it. 57 days, clean, awesome, rock it out. Maybe if you're looking in the mirror, but building your own self-esteem is a good thing to do anyways. 67 days for David, rocking it out. That's the best. Sensual pictures or soft porn count as porn? Yes, it does, but it could be a cheat in the right direction. We already talked about random erections. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to skip down and I'm going to have to wrap it up soon. Let me see if I can find. Thank you. You're welcome. You can buy the headband. I'm going to put a link on at the top of my channel in the description so that it's there. It's a link that takes you directly to the Muse site, but the 15% discount shows up in the cart. Flip Flank, what was your question? I'm going to try to go back and look real quick, but no, pornography is not good for you. So Andres Oviedo, thank you for. A lot of people tell me that people didn't think porn was a big deal or they thought it was good for them before they found my channel. That is why I'm here, because it's so bad for you and I want everybody to know that. Any brain tip for urges? Yep, have a plan. You need to have a pivot plan. What are you going to do instead? Okay, I'm going to look back and see if I can find your questions. And Flip Flank, I see commenting to Ben, but I don't see your question. Okay, so if you have... Okay, wait, so let me see. My question, please, sorry for extending. EDU, edu, I'm going to look back and let's see if I can find it. And okay, I see where it says respond to your last question up here, and I'm going to keep going. Instagram models, is it bad for brain healing? Yes, it is. You want to get off of Instagram because it's... Okay, wait. So if I have not a partner, what can I do? Okay, so that's Flip Flank's question. If you don't have a partner, and I wrote myself a note so that I would tell you this, is that, you have to try to develop what is a healthy, quote unquote, masturbation habit, which there's not really a long-term healthy masturbation habit, but trying to extend it so that you go a week or two without including pornography, trying not to include fantasy, and trying to stay connected in your body and stay present as a physical experience. And then, I tell people that all the time and they're always like, how am I supposed to masturbate if, in fact, there is no fantasy? So that is the catch-22. If there's no fantasy, then, masturbation might not work as well. But at the same time, you're trying to break those neural pathways and develop healthy neural pathways. And especially if you want to have a partner, is the only choice to get married. You don't have to get married. And I'm still scrolling back up and I see that, So, marriage is, we know there's less marriage in the world, but so the flip flank, if you want a partner, you have to think about to yourself, do I want a partner? Most people do. So if you want a partner, you have to keep your brain healthy. It changes the electromagnetic field around your body, which then makes it so that you will attract a partner. The more you use pornography and masturbate, you are keeping your brain in that unhealthy brain pattern, which decreases your electromagnetic field around you. It decreases the attraction. I talk about that a lot in my Porn Brain Reboot program. So the way out is to stop pornography, try to decrease masturbation, to keep yourself sane, I guess, until you are able to get out there, like we talked about, engage with the world, evolve your brain and your life, and find a partner. Now, if you don't want a partner, then you likely are in this loop where that's what sexuality is for you. Okay, EDU or EDU, I found a question that says, masturbation addiction is the main reason for depression. So maybe that's the question that you're talking about, and I'm going to scroll back down to the end to see if you might have put it in. But yeah, so we know that masturbation is very much linked to depression. And so it causes the feelings of depression, that lowered dopamine level, and it creates anxiety, which leads to the depression pattern. So what I did with the short course, this is to answer Dave A's question, is it's now the lowest level in my Porn Brain Reboot program. Hundreds of people have taken it, and I still get feedback how much people are enjoying it and how much it is helping them. But it is $149 now. And again, the money that you contribute to purchase that is going back into the cause, just so you know. But I have a coupon code. If on my website, the Porn Brain Reboot program, if you put in the coupon code PBR10, it takes 10% off any of the programs. So it's there for you. John, I'm looking at John's no question. Thank you for saying I'm a godsend. I don't know if you wrote something before. Yep, Andre's talking about using the app Fortify. That's a totally awesome app. And the Brain Buddy app is a good one too that you could look into. Let's see. I don't even like the word semen retention because I think it gives you this grandiose, and I know some people will be mad at me, thinking about, retention. I think it's better to think about creating healthy sexuality instead of unhealthy sexuality. And so if you're in a partnership, there's no need to retain your semen. You can have healthy sexuality where you have sex a couple times a week or every day if you can do it. But, retaining semen, there's no need for that unless you have unhealthy sexuality. And the goal is to change your sexuality to healthy. Let me see. I just saw Flip Flank's question is, what will happen if I don't do masturbation either? There will not be any health problems. Nobody ever died from not masturbating. That's what my mentor says. You will be fine. I know people think they have to masturbate all the time for their prostate or for, other things. Yeah, Brain Buddy. Thank you for people contributing. Top of the morning, Danny Morales. It's good to see you here. Yes, you're welcome for being here today. This is really important to me. What's the best strategy? Okay, one more question, and then I'm going to have to bounce at 10 o'clock. What's the best strategy in COVID-19 to leave pornography behind? My screen's jumping on me. When people are more disconnected than ever. You gave the answer, Jasper Riley P. Casil. You gave the answer in your question. The reason people are going to pornography during this pandemic is because they feel disconnected. The solution isn't to isolate yourself and disconnect yourself more while you are frying out and desensitizing your brain and damaging your frontal lobe. The solution is to get connected. So go out of your way to make connections. We can make connections on Zoom and on YouTube. We're connecting right now. Hopefully, it's going to be powerful for you. Find a group that you fit in with, connect. Call your family. Start making more plans to connect with people. Kayam says, I like how I got your name right, Kayam. I was a bit skeptical about quitting porn. More attractive, I can say, after being off porn for only 2 weeks. Fooled around with my ex and another girl the same night. Two girls, that's not healthy sexuality in the same night. We're going to need to talk about this. Didn't you hear the whole spiel for the last hour on building healthy sexuality? I will stick with your takeaway that sex gets better. We need to work with that two-girl thing, but sex gets better when you are with an actual human being because of it. Okay. You're welcome, Thomas Larry. Okay, I have to wrap up. Thank you so much for being here with me this morning. You can look soon, I'm trying to do YouTube lives minus the coronavirus every 2 weeks to be able to answer people's questions at least every month. So the next one is going to be on a weekend. It's harder for me to commit to just because of my fam squad and the life that I leave, but I am going to do a weekend live next. So I will get the shout out there. You're welcome, Poika. And thank you so much for helping me with this whole Streamlabs thing. I appreciate your help, just so you know. But look for the YouTube live coming up. Look for the new playlists. Go on over to my website at Dr. Trish Lee. Going over to Internet Addictions, sign up for Porn Brain Reboot. There's 3 different levels at different price points. The highest level program, it is an investment, but if you have the money to invest in it, the money's going back into the cause and it's going to give you the tools. It's 8 hours and 11 minutes of video recorded lessons with action steps all along the way. It's a 90-day reboot program, which we know from the science that's what most people need to be able to recover their brain functioning, to rewire their brain in the right direction, and to be able to, thrive and ride off into the sunset by getting on purpose in their work, their relationships, their hobbies, and unwiring the brain pattern that you've accidentally hardwired in for a long time. We got to unwire that. We need to rewire in the healthy, optimal brain pattern and make sure it's hardwired in for life. Everett. Okay, Everett, one more question because he doesn't want me to go without answering it. I already answered that question, just so you know, and I have lots of videos. Putting a blocker on is just a fence. You have to change your routines and your habits and your thought processes and feel your emotions, take steps towards them, not escaping. A blocker is only a fence for a little while you do that work. So, okay, thank you everybody for being here. 100% go out there, leave porn behind. I know I probably don't have to tell you this because you're here, but it's fake. It's not real. The people in pornography, most of them don't want to be there. You're a fourth wall observer. Don't observe fake life when you can go out and live and engage with your real life. You can evolve as a human being and you can rock out your best life that you can never do until you leave porn behind. So let's go for it. Now that I've controlled my computer, remember, control your brain or it will control you. And I will see you all soon. Thanks for joining me. I totally appreciate it. Have a great day.